Breaking news tonight on Evenings LALATE. The President of the United States gets his fourth stimulus package bill out the door. And away we go because that push started day after day. Cabinet member after cabinet member will watch the videos in which the president pushed for fourth stimulus this week and will analyze what was said and what was not said. We'll analyze all the exchanges across the board and why the push seems no less than finished. Then we'll be cutting to the surprising details today as the producer price index was released and the numbers were good. Then over to the small business number. Small businesses across the board closed this month and the month before. What's going on? Meantime, the vaccination rate continues to improve. And then we'll be analyzing those monthly stimulus checks, $1,400 third stimulus checks every month. Who would qualify for these $1,400 stimulus checks? What is the to-do list and how quickly could these $1,400 monthly stimulus checks get out the door? Meantime, could there be another wave of stimulus checks for the third stimulus package going out today? I'll analyze all those details and more as we go into a big night of Evenings LALATE, starting right this evening and right now. Good evening, everybody. It's a big night of Evenings LALATE as Americans go into the weekend, and away we go. As fourth stimulus heats up, your fourth stimulus check and fourth stimulus package. We'll watch video after video of this week in which the president pushes for fourth stimulus. We'll analyze why this discussion was so confusing for some and so clear for others. Meantime, we'll go over the latest economic data that came out this week and what that says for you across the board. Meantime, we'll also look at the new data that came out today. And that data was surprising. Producer price index numbers were really high, but the small business closures continue to ripple through the country. It's a big night as $1,400 reoccurring stimulus checks heat up. And how are you? Thank you for joining me on Big Night of Evenings LA. Boy, away we go. $1,400 stimulus checks, yes. Is that the amount? We'll see. Is it $2,000? Fourth stimulus will have monthly reoccurring stimulus checks. That's what the Democratic senators want you to have. The question is how soon, how quickly, and how do we get them? Thank you for joining me on a big night of Evenings LA. Ready for the weekend? Well, away we go. Don't spend all that $1,400 third stimulus check at the casino. Sir Lloyd's $12 ice cream is just not really worth it. So he will appreciate seeing you there tonight at the casino. Just keep the stimulus check at home. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. And if you're not become a member, consider becoming a member. Boy, this is the channel you want to be part of. Let's get to the breaking details. $1,400 third stimulus checks is the core and butter and bread of the fourth stimulus package. 21 of 50 Democrats want to give you monthly stimulus checks under the fourth stimulus package. Who is you? It's you. Me? Yes, you. Who is that you? That eligibility they've detailed very clearly. They want the eligibility to be the same as the prior third stimulus package. And that eligibility is all very clear. The question is, how soon and how quickly could we get those monthly stimulus checks out the door? This is what you need to know. If we look at the numbers, it's all huge sums of money. If those monthly stimulus checks went from July to December, this would be 6 months of stimulus checks. The question is, how much is the monthly check? We don't have that data yet. They haven't agreed to it. But the word on the street is that they want to do $1,400 or $2,000. Meantime, when you look at how many months of stimulus checks at that rate, boy, look at those numbers. If this stimulus check was to go out every month for 6 months at $2,000, this would be $12,000 per person. If it was to go out every month at $1,400 a person, this would be $8,400. This is enormous sums of money. The week started with Chuck Schumer with an enormous win for recon. The parliamentarian ruled that Chuck Schumer can do a modification of prior reconciliation bill with a later reconciliation bill, allowing him to not use a saved-up recon for this fourth stimulus. The prior stimulus bill was done with a saved recon from last year. And so now Schumer has the fourth stimulus, the ability to amend the third, and still has a brand new one for the fifth to use this spring. In the fall, he gets another stimulus to use as well. The to-do list is very clear. MSC is at the top of the list. Unpaid FPC retro, SSI reform, also hazard pay, minimum wage. How soon can we get this done? Let's look at the detail. The April stimulus just landed. Well, away we go. Rent, utilities, food, mortgage assistance, all those items I'll be covering later in this video. That's third stimulus. That's money available for you now. Also in May, through May, that money is available for business grants as well. But as soon as we come into June, you want that fourth stimulus to go out as soon as possible because guess what? There's no stimulus checks for a few months. And then if they landed starting in the month of July, that would be perfect. On Thursday, we saw the new jobless claims numbers, and they were horrible. The continuing claims were bad as well. I'll go over those details in a second. But today we started with surprising details, a mixture of really great news and really bad news, both on the economic front. But first, let's look at one data that impacts your economic information across the board. The vaccination rate in the United States surged in a new report released Friday. 20% of all Americans are now fully vaccinated, we learned Friday morning. Now, that is people who have had 2 doses. Of people who have had 1 dose, it's 34% of the U.S. population. Incredible, great news. But then on the other front came this data. On Friday, we learned that small business closures in the month of February were at 22% of existing businesses at that time. The last 2 months ago, 22% of businesses in operation in the month of February 2021 shut their doors. That's the worst level we have seen, the highest spike since May of last year when we saw 23% of businesses that month close. For purposes of clarification of the graphic, it includes not just small, but also medium-sized businesses. This is huge. This means that we need fourth stimulus to land in that Senate as soon as possible. The routing times for fourth stimulus is very clear and very appointed because you want that stimulus package to land in the Senate before the economy rebounds. We know that the economy has had mixed economic numbers, but these numbers are horrible. But also on Friday, incredibly high good numbers came in. This is showing the mixed bag of what we're dealing with currently in this economy. The producer price index came in on Friday, and the numbers were absolutely incredible. Wall Street was expecting an increase of 0.4%. The number came in at 1% increase for the month of March. It was the highest annual increase in 9.5 years. In other words, it was a great number. The U.S. producer prices increased at higher than expected in the month of March, and this was a new number released by Biden's Labor Department. In the 12 months through March, the PPI surged 4.2%. That was following a prior raise of 2.8%, a prior record. Economists had only thought that it was going to increase 0.5%. So this is an absolutely enormous number. What's going on? What's going on is the following mixed bag that you need to understand. In looking at this economy, it's very hard to gauge what's going on. We have a mixed bag of really good news and really bad news. On a given day, we see economic news that's great and economic news that's bad. When we're talking about your stimulus, this is what you need to know. Democrats want to give you stimulus. 21 of 50 Democrats right today want to give you stimulus. And what do they want to give you? Monthly stimulus checks. What are their details? They say they want to give it to you from now to December, monthly. They want the income qualification to be the same as the third stimulus. So if you got a third stimulus check, you get a fourth stimulus monthly check. If you make less than $75,000, this is you. If you're on SSI and SSDI, this is you. If you're a household of 4 or less, this is the household. It's not income, so you don't pay taxes on it. It doesn't count towards your benefits because it's not income. So that is very clear. What's not clear is the amount, but word on the street is that it would be $2,000 or $1,400 a month. Okay, So what's the concern, LALATE? The concern is that's their desire now. That's their desire now with 8 million jobs in this economy missing and 700,000 new jobless claims, or 700,000 new people unemployed per week. But when you look at this economic data every day, you see some really great news and some really bad news. Eventually, the good news is going to overwhelm the bad news so that all the economic data is good. And the concern is that the economy rebounds faster than the senators get the bill. How does this pass? They got to go through a two-step process, which we've gone through together as a family on this channel. It starts with a recon process, and then they go back and do the bill again. So it takes at least 2 months. Timeline is very clear. This is April. 2 months from now, May, June. That's okay. The jobs won't be restored in the month of June. The unemployment rate will not be solved by the month of June. But if you look at the month of August, there's deep concerns. Last Friday, the jobless numbers going into Friday was 8 million jobs missing. Well, we were only generating 300,000 jobs in the month of February. That's clear. It takes 16 months, 300 into 8. 3.3 into 8 is 16. It takes 16 months to restore 8 million jobs. But last Friday, the job numbers came in, and it showed that we generated 900,000 jobs, 1 million in the month of March. 1 million into 8, 1 into 8 is 8 months. Well, that's still fine. That's the end of the year. But last week, Wall Street analysts said that was March's numbers. Wait till you see April's numbers. As states reopen across the board, it's important to understand, as Wall Street said, you could see 2 million jobs restored in the month of April. And if that's true, 2 into 8 is 4 months. Job restoration could be in place in 4 months in this economy. You don't want this bill to land in the Senate if all those 8 million jobs are restored. That was what we saw last Friday. Then yesterday, on Thursday, we saw this number, which contradicted almost the jobs numbers. Remember, you see 2 labor numbers at issue per week. Well, 2 big labor issues per month that are really important. You see that jobs numbers, which is released once per month, and you see the unemployment rate, which is released every Thursday morning on this channel. And that was released yesterday, and it was horrible. It was very bad. So what's going on? Let's look at the number yesterday. The new jobless claims came in at 744,000. How high was that? Well, the prior was 728. We went worse. We had more new jobless claims. In fact, Wall Street is estimating 694,000 new unemployment claims for last Thursday, yesterday, and it came in 50,000 higher. That's the first bad number. There was a second bad number for purposes of economics. The continuing unemployment claims continue to remain high. These are people who are still unemployed from the week before. The number remained flat at 3.73 million new continuing jobless claims across the country. These are 3.73 million people unemployed still across the economy. And this includes people who have been long-term unemployed since last year. The surges across the board were in California at 39,000, New York at 16,000, Alabama, on the other hand, improving at 13,000. Ohio also saw a drop at 10,000. So what's going on? It's really hard to gauge this economy, is the takeaway. It's a week in which you can't look at this economy and figure out what's going on. Jamie Dimon on Thursday, the head of JP Morgan Chase, said we're in the middle of a booming economy. This boom could easily run into 2023. This is Dimon's comments. Booming economy? Well, that's a worry about stimulus. So as you look at all this economic data, what you need to know, the takeaway is very simple. Get the bill to the Senate as soon as possible. If you're looking at the economic data, you may be getting a headache. It's like, wait a second, it's really good on one side and really bad on the other side. Translation, play it safe. Get the bill to the Senate as soon as possible. You want that bill in the Senate as soon as possible. Let me explain the process for the bill. It's a 2-step process. It's a tow truck and the tow hitch again. First, the tow truck. A bill goes to the House for Nancy Pelosi's group to determine whether they would agree to do another bill by reconciliation. It's not the contents of the bill. It's just the procedural agreement to do by reconciliation. And then it goes to the Senate. And there, the senators agree whether they want to do another reconciliation. They agree to it. That goes back to the president. He signs into law. Then the tow truck has passed over the finish line. Done. Step 1. Not done for everything, only step 1. Now we go back to this House again. and they prepare the bill, the provisions that go in there. Now, the House members under Nancy Pelosi could put the monthly stimulus checks in there, but they're unlikely to. At that point, they finish the bill, it goes to the Senate. And then over a 2-day period, they have a vote-a-rama. They have a vote-a-rama in which they propose amendments to the bill. And boy, do they really propose them. If you were with me earlier this year, you saw how the vote-a-rama made huge changes to the third stimulus package. Number one, they got that $10,200 of unemployment tax-free put in during a vote-a-rama amendment. Another amendment was the student loan debt forgiveness tax-free if it's done by executive order. Third vote-a-rama amendment, FPUC at $300 a week, not $400 a week. So you see how the vote-a-rama is so significant. That's where the 21 of 50 Democratic senators would put the monthly stimulus checks in there. It only takes them to do it. The House can do it ahead of time. The president can do it ahead of time. But even if they don't, be prepared. They assume they do not do it. They do it at the vote-a-rama at the 11th hour. And it's signed into law, and then away we go. It goes back to the House for one more day to vote on the amendments, and then the president signs into law. So why was this week so heated up with so many videos from the president? On Friday and Thursday, the president was speaking a little bit more about gun executive orders. But on Monday through Wednesday, it was statute and press briefing and video after video going over fourth stimulus. We'll be going over those videos in a second. But stay with me. First, I want to show you a little bit about the community page. It's important to understand that there's money available for you right now, not 5 days from now, not 5 months from now, and not 5 weeks from now. And the volunteers can help you find that money right now at the community page. Let's listen in, and I'll be back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Evenings LALATE. Let's look at that graphic again that you've seen before on who gets a fourth stimulus check. Less than $75,000 income, this is you. Household of 4 or less, this is you. If you're on SSI or SSDI, Social Security or Railroad benefits, this is you. And away we go. Thank you for joining me on Evenings LALATE. Ready for the weekend? I hope you are. After this show is a double header. First, you're going to see a special, a throwback special, the 5-month anniversary special of this channel. Wow, that's going to be a lot of fun. It's in the time slot usually for Hazard Pay at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. 30 minutes after that is the return of that throwback on purple. Purple throwbacks, OG purples, have been very popular. So join me for that doubleheader tonight. That's 10 and 10:30, 2 shows back to back after this one. Meantime, if you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. It's our 1-year anniversary at the end of this month. We're trying to get to 400,000 subscribers. Let's do it. Can you imagine 400,000 subscribers in 1 year? Let's do it. Also, like this video. It really helps in the algorithm rankings. And consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. And I might be in the live chat, so say hi. Hi, how are you? You never know where I may be. And away we go. What's important to understand when you're talking about forced stimulus is the economic factors, which I educate you about immensely, helping you understand what's really going on with this economy. It's very important to know everything at issue, and also understanding the speed in getting the bill to the Senate. It's easy to understand the numbers of how much money you get. It's also important to understand the speed. This is where you got to push Purple Power, hashtag MSC, hashtag Purple Power. I'm going to explain the importance of that push in a second because the secretaries, the cabinet members actually want to hear from you. Let's look again at that forced stimulus path. Recon. The only way to get this done is by recon because the Republicans don't want to give you a stimulus check if it goes by bipartisanship. Then it lands in the Senate, a vote-a-rama, and then 21 to 50 senators so far would give you those monthly stimulus checks. The speed is a real big issue because every month that passes, you miss a stimulus check. Again, the concern about economic rebounding. You don't want the economy to rebound before the bill gets there. And finally, if there's jobs restored to this economy, people may not give you a stimulus check. That's why it's very important to look at. If you look at all this data, producer price index improving, but then small businesses getting bad, unemployment getting worse, and then then job creation getting better. It's just all over the place, and you don't want to risk it. Here's our to-do list again: MSC, FPUC retro, SSI reform, hazard pay, and then minimum wage. Let's go back to the moolah now that is at issue for the fourth stimulus check and how much it could pay and how soon you could get this money. When you look at the money at issue here, it is a time frame that most believe would be July to December. Remember how we were talking about that timeline of getting this to the Senate? The leader Schumer, the Speaker Pelosi have all talked about a vote in July. I'm fine with a vote in July. I just do not want to vote any later. First, we got a summer recess for Congress. Additionally, I'm worried that the economic data by July may be too strong. I'd rather have the vote in June. 2 months from now is late May. Even that is actually better. Every month of a stimulus check is a lost stimulus check. But if the stimulus checks went out in the month of July, passed for law in June, then that's 6 months of stimulus checks. Where on the streets, it would be $1,400 or $2,000 a month. This is per person. This graphic you're looking at is per person. Yes, if you're on SSI and SSDI, this is you. Yes, if you are employed or not employed, this is you. This is an enormous amount of money. This pales in comparison to hazard pay. Look at this number. It's more than hazard pay ever was. It's more than FPUC retro ever was. And it's 6 times the amount of $2,400 of SSI and SSDI. This is you. This is why you need to push Purple Power for this money. What happened this week is that a series of cabinet members had briefings at the White House, and their message was the same. We want to hear from you. Okay. Hi, how are you? Hearing from me? Yeah. Are you tuning in live? Hi, how are you? No, they actually want to hear from you. So they want to hear your input. Take these videos. There's 3 ways to really get in contact with them. 1, social media. Take these videos, tag them, hashtag MSC, hashtag Purple Power. Get the message out very loud and clear. 1, get the bill to the Senate as soon as possible. Do it by second. Do it by recon as soon as possible. And 3, MSC and Purple Power. Now, the second way you can reach out to them is call them on the phone. These are cabinet members. They're not particularly people that get a lot of contacts from the American people. So reach out to their staffers and say, you know what, I watched your press conference. I like what you're saying. I think you need to get this bill to the Senate as soon as possible. I know you want to talk to the Republicans, but they don't want to do it. Get the bill to the Senate. We need this done. Do it by recon and put those multiple stimulus checks in there. Very clear. And then also, of course, always write them a letter. This is what you need to know, is that the President of the United States in one of the press briefings this week said, you know what, I'm sick and tired, and darn it, that's actually his word, darn it, I'm tired of the fleecing the American people. Just do what we need to do. You know why he's frustrated in this video, which you're about to watch, is because the President has 3 provisions in his bill. The first is infrastructure. Everyone agrees upon infrastructure. He doesn't need to pitch anyone about infrastructure. We all want to do it. Every Republican and Democrat wants to do it. The next one is climate. 50% of the country does not want to do climate. No Republican wants to do climate. It's not going to happen with a Republican bipartisan move. It's not going to happen. If he wants to do climate, do it by reconciliation. Third, increasing your taxes. Well, the Republicans don't want to do that either. So 2 out of 3 provisions, the Republicans say it's a non-starter. The president says, I can't do something where there's nothing happening. Well, they already told you nothing's happening. Don't wait, go to recon. Let's listen into what the president had to say during that exchange in which he got heated about the lack of response for climate and corporate tax rate.
Dollars during this period. Where's the outrage there? I'm not trying to punish anybody, but damn it. Maybe it's because I come from a middle-class neighborhood. I'm sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced. Let me close by saying this. Whatever partisan divisions there are around other issues, there don't have to be around this one.
And that's where he's misguided. The president says you don't have to be bipartisan. You don't have to be partisan on this issue. Yes, Republicans will be partisan on taxes, and they will be partisan on climate. And that's where the message needs to be. Go by recon, don't waste any time. Let's listen in to the Energy Secretary and what she had to say this week about getting the bill done.
To electrify, and the second is to announce clean energy technology funding opportunity to reduce methane emissions from the coal, oil, and gas industry. And as many of you know, methane is an extremely potent and dangerous greenhouse gas. But these investments are really just a down payment on what we need to do as a nation, and the American Jobs Project will take us the rest of the way. And
And there she was mentioning green energy, a comment that no Republican will agree to in a bipartisan move. It needs to be done by recon. And here then was the Commerce Secretary. Let's listen to what she had to say.
Advanced manufacturing, workforce development, and our care economy are made at the scale we need, and are made in every single community in America. And as the president has led us to, is leading us to Build Back Better, that means we need to do so more inclusively and ensure that these investments that we are making in broadband, in housing, in the care economy, in water, are in every community in America, rural, tribal, urban, communities of color, and reaching everyone across America. The fact is we have failed for a long time to invest, and as a result, we have fallen behind. So why does that matter? It matters because it makes it harder for small businesses to compete. It matters because it makes it harder for American companies to compete.
And ironically, nothing in her message would have gone on deaf ears among Republicans, because actually everything she talked about is infrastructure. The problem that the reason why Republicans won't do the bill by bipartisanship is not the infrastructure, it's the climate. Meantime, yesterday, the press secretary spoke about the Joe Manchin issue. Let's listen into that exchange about a Joe Manchin op-ed slamming the reconciliation process.
Their own families, they have a connection on a personal level, so they discuss a range of issues when they connect.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Caitlin.
Does the president agree with Senator Manchin that budget reconciliation should not replace regular order in the Senate?
Well, first, for those of you who read the op-ed today or didn't read the op-ed, either way, did you all read it? Oh, surprised to hear, surprised to hear. I will say there's a couple of principles the president has as it relates to engagement with Congress and how Democrats and Republicans should work together. The time has come to end these political games and to usher a new era of bipartisanship where we can find common ground on the major policy debates facing our nation. He also believes the issues facing our democracy today are not insurmountable if we choose to tackle them together. And he definitely believes that Republicans have a responsibility to stop saying no and participate in finding real compromise with Democrats.
And there she says Republicans have a duty to say no. What's at issue here is that the big battleground clearly is climate. Republicans do not have a duty to say yes to climate. They can say no, and they have said no to climate. They've also said no to changing any tax rate. So what you need to understand is that they don't want to give you, Republicans don't want to give you a stimulus check, let alone a monthly stimulus check. What the president is trying to do is make it look like a good faith effort to get someone on board from the other party to do the bill. But they're not going to give you a stimulus check. So what you need to do is push Purple Power, push. Whether it's the Commerce Secretary or the Labor Secretary, whether it's the President of the United States or the Press Secretary. They all said over the next 2 weeks they're going to reach out to different groups and organizations of both sides of the aisle to hear your input on the fourth stimulus package. You know what your input is, Purple Power. Get it done. Get it done by reconciliation. Get it to the Senate. Get it out the door. Do the multiple stimulus checks. Get them done sooner than later. Don't wait for the economy to rebound and to have senators who are Democrats potentially get cold feet if the economy rebounds. Do it now when there are 8 million jobs, when there's 700,000 new unemployment claims per week, and when there's a 22% loss of small business closures in the month of February. Do it when those bad economic numbers are there now. Because if we come back in July of this year, those bad economic numbers may be gone, and all you may be hearing on this channel is good economic numbers, like the PPPI index, good today, like the jobs numbers, good from last Friday. You don't want to risk it. You want the bill to the Senate as soon as possible. Over the last year, I've done a lot of coverage of different stimulus items, some that got to the finish line and some didn't, like the hazard pay, like the FPUC retro, like the SSI and SSDI. But this one is the single biggest payday that any viewer has ever had on an individual basis. No payday for a single person has ever been this high as a multiple stimulus check package. It is bigger than the child care check starting in July of $3,600. It's bigger than EIDL grant for sole practitioners like Uber and Lyft drivers. This is a huge check payout. Again, it's $8,000 to $12,000. If it's $1,400 to $2,000 for 6 months, you want this to happen. You want to push Purple Power, hashtag MSC, hashtag Purple Power. Do your thing, call them up, be respectful, say why it's important, and say get it out the door. You don't want to wait and delay this 3, 4, or 5 weeks. Time is of the essence. And away we go into a big weekend. I'm so excited for you. Thank you for joining me on a big night of evenings at LALATE. I'll be here with you all weekend long. Meantime, I'll also be giving you the latest coverage. And this is what started on Friday morning. On Friday morning, the Masters at Augusta showed Justin Rose with a commanding 4-stroke lead over the rest of the field. 3 golfers starting Friday morning were tied in second. At that time, Justin was even through the third. So look at that, a 4-stroke lead for Justin Rose. Did I say Thomas? Justin Rose. So let's see what will happen throughout the weekend. Certainly, a 4-stroke lead is not substantial enough to keep those competitors at bay at Augusta. Stay with me all weekend long as I give you continuing coverage of Augusta and your stimulus. And with that, stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 400,000 subscribers. Like this video. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling. Have a great evening, and I look forward to seeing you tonight on that doubleheader starting at 10 o'clock. The Throwback 5-month anniversary, and then Purple Power. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay over LA for more.